All right, hello everyone. It is 8 o'clock, so we're going to get rolling here. So I hope everyone's having a great week so far. My week is going pretty good, but I think I might have broken my toe in the gym. So I guess we'll see how I feel tomorrow morning as to how. I'm not going to let it ruin my day or my week, but that's always fun. Same exact spot where I broke it last year, so good times. All right, enough about me. Onto the routine stuff. I do have the Q&A portion of the app turned on, and let me just make sure that it is as I'm saying that. Yes, it is. It's on the right-hand side. So as you ask questions, they will appear there, and then I'll check them. Please be aware there is a delay between when you ask and when I see them. And that covers all of the routine stuff. So there are a couple questions and a couple things I want to cover, so let's get to it. All right, so as to the first question. First question comes from Danny. Danny asks, would drinking Gatorade or other sports nutritional drinks aid in workouts or post-workouts? My brother's track coach was telling me, or was telling my brother, that if you drink Gatorade or other comparable drinks, it's best to cut it in half with water to get the desired effect. So that's a great question. Thank you for asking. I'm not sure exactly what the desired effect is in this case. So I think that unless you're actually participating in a sport that is endurance-based, then a pre and post-workout or intra-workout nutrition or supplement isn't really needed. Now, your brother seems to be on the track team, so I don't know what events he's doing or all of them. It's possible that that's something that he would defer to his coach on in that regard, but I don't really think anyone here is doing endurance work to the point where that becomes necessary. Endurance type work is like a half marathon or a marathon, things like that, where you're going for an extended period of time. And usually you're already to the point that if you can do that, if you can run a half marathon, you probably are pretty lean as is, and you're not going to have a lot of stored body fat to use as energy. And then you kind of need that to be able to get through and refuel and things like that. So long distance biking, long distance running, long distance, anything basically endurance based is where that would kind of come into play. And I know there's an entire industry around pre-workout protein shakes and pre-workout stuff like, things that get you pumped up. And then there's the whole thing of take a post-workout protein shake too. Unless you have problems getting your protein in, I don't find any of it necessary. In my case, I don't really do anything endurance-based. My workouts are either weight training or light cardio. And light cardio, I mean light as the amount of time commitment. I would rarely do cardio for more than half an hour ever, unless I was running from a wild animal. And the only pre-workout that I would take is a banana, and that's it. I don't even take caffeine before my workouts anymore. I just find that I would rather have even less nervous energy from the banana and have that be done with it. I don't drink protein shakes because I usually have the problem of having too much protein. So my only post-workout is my dinner meal. If I'm working out earlier due to schedule changes, I'll work out fasted before lunch with a banana, and then I'll have my lunch, and that's basically it. I don't make a habit out of a bunch of powders and things like that or supplements. They're really not necessary, I don't think, especially if you're just doing this recreationally and you're not participating in a sport. And again, to reiterate, if you are participating in a sport that may be endurance-based, it's probably wise to listen to your coach in that regard. With that said, if you are drinking a calorie-free beverage like Powerade Zero or calorie-free or low-calorie Gatorade, it's really probably just going to be refreshing your electrolytes. Your electrolytes are salt, potassium, magnesium. There's really nothing wrong with that. I recommend that everyone that is watching this buy potassium salt. It's Morton light salt, and it's more potassium than sodium, and it takes the place of your regular table salt. And it will, if you have things like cramps, it'll help with those cramps immensely. I personally always wake up in the middle of the night with terrible Charlie horses, to the point where I wake up, I jump out of bed screaming, and I'm running around trying to work the knot out. If I make sure I use potassium salt, I don't have that problem anymore. It goes away. So that's something to keep in mind. So if you were looking to have a workout recovery drink that does have some calories, there are a ton of studies out there showing that chocolate milk is the best post-recovery drink that you could have compared to like a post-recovery drink called Surge. I can provide the link if you'd like to see the research review, and then there's a bunch of sources, but it basically shows that chocolate milk is way better. Most people think it tastes better, and the alternative is 227% more expensive per serving compared to chocolate milk. So to me, that kind of is, if you're going to have something, I would personally go for chocolate milk. The only other factor that's not really mentioned in any research review is that depending on how hot out it is, you might not want to drink a bunch of dairy after you're sweating and doing a bunch of exercise. Only thing that wasn't really considered. So that is something to keep in mind. All right, so the next topic that I wanted to briefly discuss is fat loss versus weight loss. So I was recently talking to a couple other coaches, and this topic came up. I realized that in working with people, I've been using them pretty interchangeably. So I'd like to take this opportunity to clarify what I mean by fat loss versus weight loss. So fat loss can include weight loss, but not all weight loss includes fat loss, meaning you can see weight loss without losing fat. I'm sorry, no, I said that backwards. You can see fat loss without losing weight. So fat loss equals either a change on the scale or a change in measurements or both. Or it could even mean no change in measurements, the scale going up, the measurements going up, but your clothes are fitting better. That's one way to look at fat loss. Weight loss is simply the scale changing, going down. So it's possible that you can lose weight, but you're not losing fat. That's a rare situation. But that normally what would happen is if you're not eating enough protein and not doing any resistance exercise, the scale could go down, but you're actually burning muscle and you're getting fatter. It's very possible, but not very likely. So that is something to keep in mind too. So that's why I stress the importance of protein and resistance-based exercise that you continuously improve on to make sure that when you lose weight, it's fat and not muscle. Now remember, if you lose muscle and you gain fat, your metabolism goes lower and you require fewer calories. It's not a huge amount, but if it's a habit, if you've made it basically your method of weight loss is to lose muscle and replace it with fat, then it's going to add up over time. So that is something you want to be aware of. So the reason I'm bringing this up is that, so with most people, the differences are important when the scale isn't changing or is going up, but your measurements are going down. And to me, that indicates that fat loss is happening. So this means that it's possible in this scenario for your body to change shape, like what you look like in the mirror, and for you to lose fat, but the scale might not go down. It might stay the same, or it might even go up. A couple other people have mentioned that based on their client data, what they saw was that 1 inch on their measurements equals about 4 pounds of fat loss. So that's something to keep in mind. I know from personal experience how badly this can mess with your head, because you want to see that what you're doing is working in the short term. So for me, this used to really make me focus on the numbers, worrying about what I was eating every day, worrying about what the scale did every day. And I almost found myself getting back into that mindset recently. I had to take a step back and realize that even though I'm a coach, I was not being objective about myself and was kind of getting lost in these far off goals rather than focusing on the process to reach them. As it turns out, a faraway goal, if all you do is focus on the goal, you're probably going to trip up and never get there. You have to just focus on the process that will get you there and kind of ignore the long-term goal and kind of put it to the side and instead focus on that process. So in the end, the primary thing that matters the most is consistency. And in order to be consistent, you have to fully trust the process without focusing on the day-to-day numbers and measurements and weigh-ins. So I had to ask myself some questions, and I'd like for you to ask yourself these questions. Am I being consistent with my nutrition goals? Am I trusting the process? Am I trusting the process that being at my calorie goals consistently over time is going to result in both weight loss and fat loss? Am I focusing on the long term rather than the short term? Am I focusing on the processes instead of the long-term goal? So if you're answering no to any of these questions, please reach out to me because we need to talk. I can understand why you'd answer no, as I answered no to some of these myself recently. But at the end of the day, we have to shift our mindset toward what's going to give us the results we want, rather than focusing our mindset on the goals themselves, being so hyper-focused that we're basically ignoring what gets us there, the hard work we put in towards the consistency that actually takes us to those goals. You can't just look off in the distance and expect to get there. You have to really just pay attention to the road in front of you and be in the moment and work on that instead. All right, I think that pretty much covers the things that I wanted to talk about. Let me see if there are any questions being asked. All right, I don't see any questions being asked currently. Let me check one more place. All right, I think we are good. I'm going to go nurse my hopefully not broken toe. Like I said in the Hangout, if you feel like you're not focusing on the process and instead you're hyper-focused on the goals, please open up a dialogue with me, and I'd love to help you through that, because it's something that I just went through myself recently as I was reevaluating my own goals for the next, for 2016. So please talk to me. If not, I'll talk to everyone soon, and have a great night and a great rest of your week. Thank you.